So we left at this place, and the next thing as part of the overall infrastructure is to set up Logstash, API Builder, and Memcache. And here we have to configure a few more things. So we have to tell where is the API manager, and basically also where's the admin node manager. And by default, the API manager is derived from that URL as well. Maybe we have to provide a username and password because the API builder, which is part of the project, is performing lookups. So that's why I go to my second host, which should serve all these three components. And let me first clean up the previous release I had here, and we take the new release as we have done on the initial node or on the Elasticsearch node. No, not that one. We would like to download the release and get it over here. And then I can go and say Axway and copy that env file to my.env. So I simplified my way for the demo a little bit because normally you would go and somehow distribute that environment file from one host to the other. I have already compared that or prepared that env file on my local machine. And oh no, for that step, we do it manually. Say we go into that env file. And also, of course, Elasticsearch Logstash needs to know where is the Elasticsearch server running. That's why I just take it from here and say we need to know that IP address at the moment, or that host name in reality. And the other thing, according to the documentation, it tells me Kibana, I need to search for the admin node manager, which is where obviously, yeah, here we go, where the API manager is running. And this is on that machine here. So that means I just take that host name and put it inside here. So that means you can easily have the API manager running somewhere else or the admin node manager. There's also support to have different API managers in one management domain and so on. That's all possible. There's no need to configure the API builder URL, which is used by Logstash to perform lookups against an API builder is exposing. This is because I'm running Logstash, API builder, and Memcache everything at the same host, and that's why they are sharing the same Docker network. If you have that distributed, then of course you also would need to configure that API builder URL. And if you have Memcache running somewhere else, then you also need to configure that. So you see that it's not necessary to have all parameters configured on all components. That's why you find the information which parameter is used by which components along with the parameter. So that means I'm thinking that's all I have to configure for that components over here. Let me check. I'm happy with the predefined API admin and the change me password. And that's why I can now kick it off. And I do see there is some missing part in the documentation, but it's very simple. So let me save that. And the only thing I have to do here is to kick off the primary Docker Compose file, which is in the root of the directory. It's downloading for the first time the API builder for Elastic Docker container. And then I should have 3 containers running, Logstash, API builder, and obviously Memcache. Memcache is used by Logstash to avoid too many lookups at the same time. And let's have a look for the API builder for Elastic, which is making, as part of the bootstrap, it's validating the connection to the API manager. This includes also performing some kind of a login and then making sure that the login succeeds. And if this is okay, then you can assume that you configured the API manager and the admin node manager parameters correctly. So, and the other thing is Logstash, which takes a little bit longer to configure or to set up to get started, but it has been started already. This is the line you should look for, and you should also look for pipelines running, and then you should see all the pipelines which are configured as part of that Logstash processing. So, and the last thing I'm doing as part of that video now is to go back into the Kibana stack monitoring and reload the status over here, because now Logstash has already installed a number of templates for all the different data that should be indexed. And we have also a number of indexes created automatically. And you can see that the health has now changed to yellow, because all of these indices are configured to have at least one replica. And as we have a single node Elasticsearch cluster, Elasticsearch cannot create that replica for me. And that's why the overall cluster status is no longer green anymore. It's now yellow. So that means some actions are necessary, but we will do that later. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we are going to install FileBeat on one of my API gateways, and then really see traffic flying into Elasticsearch.